My name is Jonas. This is Sublime Media, and on this channel I talk about records and record-related stuff. Like today, when I am going to show you a recent vinyl finds video. I'm not going to show you a recent vinyl finds video. You're actually watching a recent vinyl finds video. I don't know what I'm talking about, and I have a shit ton of records to show you. So buckle up, brew yourself a cup of coffee, and just sit back and let's enjoy this right together, shall we? Because this is going to be a long ass video. I think I did the intro thingy, so I don't need to do that. Check. And yeah, subscribe if you like what I'm doing, and obviously you do because you're watching this. Also, give this a thumbs up and comment. Just write something nice. You know, we need nice stuff. And if you write something, the YouTube algorithm will shoot this out to even more people, and even more people needs good music in their lives and good vibes. And I think that I provide just exactly that. Otherwise, I do a pretty nice like soundtrack, and it feels like it's the end of the world right now. Everything's going to shit, so at least we will have good music in our earbuds when the end of days are nigh. Shit, that's good. Anyways, I'm going to show you some reissues, like 4, and then just used records. And this video is actually going to be kind of a good example of the stuff you get in shop, because I run a record shop called sublimemedia.se, and I go out hunting for record collections, and I have bought a shit. I think I have 2,000 plus records right now in the shop, just that I got last month. It's insane, so I need to sell. But some stuff that comes in the shop is amazing, and I sell it to finance the rest, you know the deal. But some of it is just too good to sell, so I'm keeping it for myself. Some core stuff, you know, and I'm gonna show you. Let's start with the reissues. I could not pass on this one. I'm gonna fly by this pretty quickly. This is missing vinyl. It's 26/6 and then 2066, and then I wish I had an original press of this, but I don't. It's a super expensive record to get a first press of, but it's one of the best. And I went to a buddy of mine's home. He had a first press and a stereo system to die for. He played it. It sounds like a dream, but this is really good too. I think that Missing Vinyl is doing a great job. So the Millennium, I have a first US press of the Millennium record. They only released one record in 1968. This is like original sound sessions 1967 to 68, so it's everything that sort of didn't end up on the record. Comes with sort of a sheet, or if it's maybe a 4-page booklet, something like that, and it's pretty inexpensive. So nice one to have to one of my desert island discs on Monster Records. In a huge collection, I bought 500 records just 2 weeks ago. This was in there, and I had to keep it for myself. Sounds like a dream, I have to say. David Gilmour live at Pompeii. It came out in 2017, and I knew when it came out, but I wanted it, but I couldn't really afford it, and just time passed. Now, found this in a collection of 500. I kept this for myself. 4 LP set with the Gilmour sort of tunes, but also obviously some Floyd tunes. Really, really nice packaging. Comes with a booklet of nice, lush photos. You know the deal. And last but not least, when it comes to reissues, I want to highlight this, because we are not blessed here in Sweden with Vinyl Me Please stuff. Some I know subscribed because they are quitting the subscription to Europe now. So they have some of these and they love them. But when it comes to like buying straight from Vinyl Me Please, it's too expensive, according to me at least. Now it seems like with the new sort of not going outside of the US subscription sort of thingy, they have rearranged their business model, so I can actually get Vinyl Me Please records through one of my distributors here in Europe. So I got like 10 records just to try out. This was the first one I played, and it blew my mind. I'm going to show you why. This is the only record, in my opinion, that you need from Bruce Springsteen. It's the Nebraska. He did this just before the USA kind of record. I can't remember what it's called. Born in the USA. And he did it on a 4-track in his living room. just like a demo. He went to E Street Band, they tried to record it, didn't sound good. So they ended up actually releasing sort of the material that he recorded in his bedroom. It's such a great record. Oh man. So when it comes to the packaging, you have like a textured sleeve or a matte finish, something like that at least. So it's very, very authentic. You have a booklet, great one. Read it when I listened to this yesterday. You get also a print, which is kind of cool, and 180 gram vinyl, dead flat, sounds like a dream. And this annihilates my original US copy. I'm throwing that away because I'm ashamed of even having it in the same area code as this one. It sounds amazing. So I can't wait to dive more into the Vinyl Me Please material that I bought to review for you guys. So if you're interested, and if you live in Sweden or in Europe, you know, if you're interested in this, just PM me and I can send you like a list or something like that of the titles that I can get. They are expensive. It's a premium product, comes with a premium price, but in my opinion, this is more value for the money than some of the other audiophile releases, because you get a book and you get a print and you get fantastic sound quality mastered by Chris Bellman, I think, or something like that. So awesome. Cheers. Okay, enough of that. So when I went to Holland, we went to Grollo. Grollo is the city of QB and the Blizzards. But I got this before. Now I'm trying to buy every single QB and the Blizzards record and Live in Blues that I can find. The Dutch blues scene, like heavy blues scene, was so alive back in the day, in the 60s and the 70s. So the first 5 QB records is a definite must. This is a US first press, so a little bit different than the Dutch first press. But it's an inexpensive record and it's a great one. Highly recommended. Now in 1968 Elvis did his comeback record. I found a collection with great Elvis stuff, first US pressings. I'm gonna sell them. But I couldn't pass this. I didn't have this in my collection. I'm not a Elvis fan or a collector. I have his first record, pretty early pressing. Love that one. I think that this is the only one other than that I need in my collection. So I kept this for myself. Great condition. And I think it's a first US press, but I might be wrong. It's a US nonetheless. Okay, continue. And it's fun because Netflix just released a documentary about this, the sort of the rise and fall of Elvis Presley, which has this TV special surrounding that TV special. Okay, moving on. This is a horrible, awesome record cover. It looks like a Norwegian death metal cover or something like that. This is Edward Bruton Band. I think this is the first they released. And I've been after this for so long. Look at that. Awesome. It's not super expensive. It's not super hard to get. I just never got the opportunity for a great price to get it. And now I did in a collection. No, I bought this on Discogs. Great one. It's a blend. It sounds like a blend between the white British blues and Captain Beefheart. Really, really nice. Not a bad song on it. Everyone should own this if you are a fan of that sort of music. And with that cover artwork, it just seals the deal. As I said, it's not super hard to get. It's not super expensive. Just cool one. So I have a buddy of mine here in my town. He is a record collector, and I'm so glad that we have found each other. So we help each other out. And he stumbled upon this in a thrift store. Got it for like $3 or something like that. Really cheap, but it's trashed. So we actually ended up trading it. And I'm so glad we did. As you can see, this is not in mint condition. But what it is a first UK mono press of my generation with The Who. Such an iconic record. And it looks like it's been dragged after a bus. The record is super scratchy. But it sounds great. It's insane. Like some passages, quiet passages is definitely cracking and popping and stuff like that. But there are moments on this throughout that sounds perfect. It's just like they pressed stuff back in the day so you can go beneath the scratches almost and getting those details. It's insane. So I'm actually replacing my late 70s copy for this. First, UK mono, fantastic one. Okay, so this is the first of two Danish records that I'm going to show you. I've had this for a while now. I bought it from Mats at Jackdaw Records here in Sweden. You can find him on Instagram. He's one of the best, coolest guys in Sweden, and his story is great. Wish I was a neighbor of that store, but I'm not, unfortunately. But we talk almost daily. I consider him a friend now. And this is actually, it was put out in Denmark in 1970. It's like a progressive blues record. Really good. The only one that they released. But as you said, as you saw, it was put out on Telefunken, and that's a German label. So this was, I think, only issued in Germany. Not in Denmark, at least, or in Sweden or something like that. So guess it was put out for a German market. Maybe they hit it off in Germany, but not in Denmark, which is a shame because it's really, really good. Fantastic. I mean, all of the Danish records I've heard, it's definitely on my top 25. So glad to add that to the collection. Moving on, keeping on. As you can see, I've been huge into blues and heavy blues, you know, and this is maybe a little bit more progressive than that, but this is Woody Kern with the awful disclosure of Maria Monk. Also, beginning of the 70s, actually, I can't remember which year this was. Late 60s, early 70s. Yeah, great one. I've been after first press of this and totally neglecting the Canadian press, which this is, because the Canadian press is actually pretty affordable. So, got this straight from a US guy, I think. Bundled up, got it sent here on Pi Records. And it feels like an iconic one. I think that I've seen them go for like 80 euro or something like that, and I think I paid like 30 for this. In great shape. So kind of nice to add that to the old collection. Okay, moving on. This is, I think, the only find up to this date that I can show you from Den Bosch and Holland, where I was last weekend. This is The Wind in the Willows, the only release that they put out, and it's mostly known for featuring the first recording by Debbie Harry, which were in she had her fame in Blondie later on. Okay, so I knew it by that. I have sampled it, thought it sounded good, and I think that this cost me like 7 or 8 euro in Holland, so I took a chance on it. Finally, it's in perfect condition, a little bit less on the cover, but still really enjoyable, and the music is fantastic. Me and my wife played this the other like 2 evenings ago, something like that, and it's just a super sort of fantasy record, very sort of I shouldn't say like Tolkien-esque, but because it's more child-friendly like that. Maybe The Hobbit in that case. But like Alice in Wonderland, something like that. Like really, really nice one. So, talked about mostly because of Debbie Harry, but I think that it holds its own amongst other Psych records from this time period. Check it out if you are interested in that. I won't say Grail. I won't say Grail because you can find this online. You can buy it today, but it's a very rare record and it's super hard to find, especially in these these parts of the world. But I am blessed with having great friends in the collecting community here in Sweden that offers me trades and stuff like that when it comes up. And I'm very grateful for that. Jens is one of my best buddies when it comes to record collecting here in Sweden. And he had a copy of this, asked me if I want to trade it. And oh man, yes, I did. And as you can see, it's not a minty copy. But when it comes to South African copies, maybe this is a mint copy. This is Sixto Rodriguez Cold Fact, I think from 74, maybe 72. His first one, and also in my opinion the best one. It has all the sort of the known songs. Sugarman, obviously, it starts off with Sugarman. I mean, imagine this guy putting out the record on Sussex, and the first tune that hits you is Sugarman. It has to be amazing. Crucify Your Mind, Forget It, Hate Street Dialogue, Inner City Blues, I Wonder. It's just like hit after hit after hit. And you have all seen the documentary. You know what they did with copies in South Africa. And this is maybe a G plus, VG minus cover and record. It looks like it's beat to trash, but it actually plays pretty good. It's a little bit warped, so maybe I'll do something about that in the future. But I bet that this is one of the nicest copies that anyone owns in Sweden, at least. So yeah, awesome to have. Talk about a collector's piece. Moving on, I think this is early 70s maybe. It was put out in 1980, this pressing at least. Got it in a collection, ended up keeping it, but I don't know. I think it's coined as a sort of audiophile pressing, but this is the Nautilus Half Speedmaster series by Superdisc, John Baez, Diamonds and Rust, and I actually kept this just because of that title track. Diamonds and Rust is one of my favorite songs of all time. It's a masterpiece of a song, perfectly composed and executed by John Baez. But the rest of the record is okay, but not that good. So when I saw this, has that white label. When I saw this, I had high hopes of this sounding like a dream, and it sounds okay, but not more than that. This is not an expensive record at all in this outing. You can get this for like $20, I think, at least, in great condition. So try it out. I'm going to look for, if I stumble upon a first US press, I'm probably going to replace it. Because it's not that good sounding, but nice one to have. Like finding it in a collection, that's the way to really keep it. 1966. I think this is my third copy, and I think I'm gonna keep it this time because these sold pretty many more. It's not super hard to find a copy in Sweden, so they have to have sold a lot of copies of Yardbirds records. But 1966, Roger the Engineer, first UK stereo press, and you know it's a first because it's the blue Columbia, which we all love, and it has sold in UK, subject to resale, blah 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 on it. I never had this clean copy, and it's not a minty copy, but it's often party played and sort of trashed. So I think that this time around this is going to stay. But I find this, as I said, this is the third copy I found. The other two I found dirt cheap, and I mean it fetches a coin, doesn't it? So I've always been like too tempted to sell it, to buy something else, and then I stumble upon it again, and you know I end up selling it. So, but I think that I'm gonna keep it this time. It's a great record. Roger the Engineer, Jeff Beck, you know, yeah, iconic. Yeah, let's just keep it at that. Yeah, this summer in Hova, the record fair out in the countryside on a camping site where all world's biggest collectors and sellers are going, where tens of thousands of euros are exchanging owners, and records that you only dreamed about and read in fairy tales are shown. I found this. Stefan Dimle, that I interviewed not too long ago, he had this in his stall, or in his camper. It's James Brown, the Apollo concert. I never had a copy of this. This is a first Swedish press, or only Swedish press, from 1966, so 3 years after the concert, and it sounds great. It's a minty copy, and I think I paid like €5 or €6 for it. So thank you, Stefan. The same goes with this. I'm not a huge soul collector, but I mean I can't refuse this. This came in a collection. It sounds great. I won't sell it. This is going into the collection. There's not a bad track on this. Such an iconic record. I mean, the voice of Aretha Franklin, just, oh man. And it has some of the greatest tracks also, or the most known tracks at least, when it comes to a Swede's perspective. 1972, I had original press of this, sold it, And this is the second press. Looks like this. It's pretty dark in here. Let's see if I can do something about that in the post. Okay, Bobby Charles, 1972 on Bearsville Records. This is a folk record or a rock record with some country leanings because of the who's who of everyone who's playing on it. I think half of the band is playing on this one, and it's good. I mean, I sold the original press because it's not that good. The original press, it's an expensive one. The second one, not that expensive. I would go for this one if you're interested in owning a copy of it. Check it out. It's interesting. It's one of those, like, as a collector of this kind of music, it tingles a little bit in my tummy when I see it now that I got it. So it's a keeper. But I didn't need the first press. Okay, 2 more to go. Then I'm going to show you the big ones, the big hitters. I mean, Lee Hazelwood is always popular. It's always been popular in Sweden. You can sell Lee Hazelwoods for a pretty coin. But you find these in thrift stores back in the day, 15 years ago, something like that. You found 10 Lee Hazelwood records for $1 each. You know, Cowboy and the Lady with Anne Margaret is one that I never found to keep for myself. But now I did, and it's a great one. I mean, I don't collect Lee Hazelwood, but when I stumble upon them, especially the ones he did in Sweden on his own label, I keep them. So I have like 2 that I don't have that I'm looking for. Tiger in the House is one of them, which is an expensive one. That I won't pay the money that I ask for it, so I have to stumble upon that in some way in the future. Anyway, LHI Records, his own record label, is a record label that I'm gonna buy everything that I find because it's fairly limited. A lot of 7 inches, which I don't collect. And the other artists, except for Lee Hazelwood, is fairly limited. Not many. And some goes for a lot of money, and some for less. And this is one of them that goes for less. This is Eve, Take It and Smile, which is a kind of gross title of a record nowadays, on Lee Hazelwood's label. And this is perfect. It's a female vocal folk record with country leanings and that melancholy that just surrounds everything that Lee Hazelwood did. It seems like that anyway. There's an edge to it that I really, really enjoy. So yeah, not expensive at all. Okay, so the moment we've all been waiting for, these are the Grail items. I've been looking for these since I started collecting seriously. And I mean, the last one I'm going to show you is a top 10 of mine. Definitely on my want list. So a little bit of a backstory. So, I have found a guy. I won't say where he lives. It's not in Sweden. A guy that has collected Psych and Prog records, original pressings, for 40 years. He has everything that he has, and he has 6,000 records in his collection. Everything is original first pressings. Okay, so I found this guy, and he said to me that he is getting rid of a large portion of his rare Psych and Prog records because he is all into jazz nowadays. He is buying first mono pressings of Blue Note, you know, and they cost thousands of dollars. So he needs that money, and the only way to get that money is to sell some of his stuff. So he's releasing a big portion of these rare nuggets out on the market. And he's not in a hurry, so not much has come out yet. Okay, so fast forward, I got in contact with him. And we talked it out. And I got these 2 plus some other that I'm going to show you now, but reissues. But these are the original pressings. I got these 2 for a really reasonable price, and he knows what he has. And they are expensive, but he is willing to, you know, work with me because I'm going to buy a lot. And we did a list, and I think that list is 20-30 records long of just holy grail records, like really, really hard to get and super expensive records. So we are going to work something out for a long period of time to come, because he's not in a hurry and I don't have the funds for it right now. So we started off with these two. Next time, in maybe a month's time or something like that, I have 4 lined up, and I'm actually going to visit him to check them out and buy them from him on the spot, because it's that important and that much money. And from there it's like 20-30 more. So obviously I need to sell a lot of records. So this was the first one that I saw that I was just like, man, I need that. Let me buy that from you, please. And I could. So this is a 1970 press. It's the first German press of this. I can't pronounce the name. Artstation, something like that. It's the Steve Hillage record before Egg and all those bands, and it's on Vogue Records. Sounds really good, and in great shape. Like VG Plus all day long. A little bit of shelf wear on the sides here, but not much. And I got it for maybe like not half price of what it goes for, but maybe almost. And last but not least, this is 1971, and I've said it through since I started my YouTube channel. I have said that this is probably my favorite Scandinavian record, the best recorded record in Scandinavia. And finally I have an original first Danish press of this. Culpeper's Orchid in great condition, with the I don't know what this is called, intact backside, maybe VG Plus on the cover, but the record, except for Ulla, who has written on the label, looks and plays like unplayed. Just insane. And I actually have this in my collection now. It's insane. And again, I got it for maybe half or less, I should say, than what it could be sold for in this condition. So I'm really happy with that. Next time I'm gonna get 4 records from him in this caliber, and they are like huge want list items. So yeah, and I'm gonna top this video off by just saying that getting these, I have to say, is because of my shop that I started now a year ago. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about this because I think it's important. I couldn't afford these if it wasn't for the store. I work my ass off, and I have done that for a year now, really to get collections, sell records, sell reissues, promoting them, you know, spreading love and music out to especially the Swedish viewers and customers of mine. It's a lot of work, but it's also very rewarding when it comes to the stuff that I can keep for myself and throw into my own collection, and also the opportunity to sell, get some money, and buy these Grail records. You know, I could never do that if it wasn't for the shop. So I'm very thankful for all of you guys who supports me, and also for the opportunity that I can actually do what I'm doing right now. So that's awesome. I still work 4 times a week, and one day I have off to just work with records, and that's great. That's awesome. I'm so happy that I'm at a point in my life where I can do that. So yeah, that's it. If you have any questions or just like want to say hi, write that in the comments. Give the thumbs up if you didn't do that in the beginning of this video, and talk to you in my next video. Great day, everyone.